Good morning, our Canvas family and friends. It's Friday, the last stream of the week. I actually think this is number 49.
Oh my gosh.
49 streams over the past 2 months with this killer community. Great job, everybody. We're here with Kat Flippin, our friend from Georgia. She's coming back. The last one was very popular, if you'll remember. We're talking today about how to optimize and customize your Canvas pages. So as always, throw your names, where you're from in the comment section, and any questions that you have from Kat. Kat, take it away.
Sure. Let me pop up the live chat so I can see who's doing what. Pardon the inception moment there. I'm going to keep track of y'all on the right there. I'm going to put a link in the chat here as well, because or maybe I'll let Mark do that really quick. But there's a link I want to share with y'all so that we're able to do this interactively, or essentially give you some notes. I initially did all this in a slide deck, and I was like, why do I have to use a slide deck? Canvas is good enough, right? Canvas is wonderful for this. So I went and I built everything into a course so you can actually see it happen in real time. So for any of my other Southern folks, hello, and we're still in session. A lot of people in our area have ended school already, but we are determined to go to the last day. And I think that's wonderful. So, and who knows what's going to happen in the fall. But Canvas pages, I don't know. A lot of people don't use them often enough. And I get why. When you're building a module, which I talked about last time, I love modules. You tend to just use the content you already have, your Google slide decks, or for my Microsoft folks, your PowerPoints, documents, your PDFs, your links out, your YouTube. Why even bother with pages? I actually love pages because I can build content around the things that I like to embed. So as opposed to just putting like a Google Doc in a module, I could embed it into a page and then add a title, right? And then like content underneath it. And I'll show y'all as an example toward the end why this is really important. And like with YouTube, for example, if I put a YouTube video in the module, it's just going to be the YouTube. There's no instructions for the kids. So why don't I make a page, put the YouTube video embedded on the page, and then above it, I can put a title and instructions, and then like, hey, go to the next thing for assignments. Pages, right, what Sherry said, it's a blank space. I mean, that's Canvas is a blank canvas, right? So it gives you the ability to do stuff, and it takes a little bit of time to build, but y'all, it's the whole concept of an LMS. Once you build it, it's always there, right? So do the work once and then be done. So using the link I gave y'all, you should be able to see from within Jackson County Schools and our Canvas site, the 10 easy ways to optimize pages. And we're going to go to modules. So this is what y'all kind of see. And I try to really quickly kind of put everything in here with example copy. And yes, I know, wait, I said it. Code. Don't be afraid. Do not be afraid of code. Shout out to all the people, my late 90s folks, who taught themselves how to code using AngelFire and GeoCities a long time ago. And the best thing we ever did, or at least for me, the best way I learned was literally copying code from other people. So I remember the first time I ever made like a side frame navigation thing. I was so excited. This is like 1999, right? Before the world ended. And ever since then, I've kind of been fascinated with it. But it's not as hard as you think it is. And Canvas makes it really easy too. So we're not going to start with code though. Deep breath. We won't start there yet. We're going to start with two things that have been possibly the most popular things that I've ever done in my system when it comes to pages. So first, we're going to talk about banners. And what I mean by banner images is just like you saw here on the home page. Like this is kind of a quick and easy banner image. And I put a little table around it. Oh, I see that, Beth, the AngelFire GeoCities, right, with all the lights and the blinky text. By the way, I don't think I've tested the blinky HTML in Canvas. Let me know if it works. That'd be hilarious. But right there, that right there is a banner or an image of some sort. As an ADHD person, I have to have visuals when I look at this. If I saw this and I just saw a list of modules, or if I look at a page of content and it is just a bunch of words in 12-point font, I'm not going to read that. I'm sorry, but I won't. I don't know where to start. I get confused and my mind just goes out the window. So instead, let's do some banners, right? So what I want to go is go back to, this is the interior version, right? Let's go and look at the pages. And you can follow along with me. So we're going to go to the modules and go to the how-to for banners first. So let's take a look at that page. All right. And so this is what I'm going to help you guys do. You're going to create a banner using Google Slides, and it has a transparent background to it. It's so important when you do any kind of image to make sure that the background is transparent. Like let's say you want to do a circle image, but the background, everything is always square in PowerPoint and slides, right? If the background is, oh, hey, doctoral, oh my gosh, Melissa, hi. Sorry, I had to pause because I know somebody. She was in my doctoral program from UF. Hi. But anyway, back to this. That was ADHD happening. If you don't have a transparent background to an image, it's gonna default to square. Or if you're trying to put it on a colored background, it has a white background. It just looks weird. So let's make something super easy that anybody can do, and then you download it and you just put it right in. So I actually have in this course link that I'll have Mark reshare in a little bit. There is a template right there that you can copy and use. It forces a copy. Use it whenever you'd like. And I'll click on this so you can see what it's like. All right, so it says, do you want to make a copy? So by the way, if you're Microsoft, I apologize immensely right now, but we're Google people. So it'll force a copy into any kind of Google account you have. So I'll make that copy and wait for that kind of to load. All right, and then here is what I've already set up. So you use this first one here. The background is already set to transparent, and it's already set to a size that, in my experience thus far with pages, tends to work really well when it comes to banner images, okay? And then from here, here's a little box. I can make that box whatever color I want. So let's say I want to make it red, right? And then if I want to add text, I can just double click and make the text white, right? And then do bold or something. Let's do that again. Yeah, do yay banners, right? And then all I have to do from there, guys, is file and download as a PNG. So make sure that you download it as PNG. JPEGs are awesome, right? We're not going to talk about GIF or GIF because that's a huge debate we're not going to get into right now. GIF is the right answer. But PNGs, make sure
it's GIF, just to be clear.
No. No, it's okay. I won't judge Canvas on that. I still love you. So if you download as a PNG, guys, PNG, just remember, PNG is transparent background. So as long as your background is set to transparent, which is already set automatically on this right here, this link I give you, then you're good. So I'm going to download the PNG, right? And then I can go into any page in Canvas. I probably should make a blank page that we can fiddle with, right? Then it's really easy for me to upload, and ta-da, I have an awesome banner image just right there, right? And I love the whole new editor here. It's so easy to add stuff, by the way. So I'm going to upload an image from, let's see, oh, someone requesting access to the following presentation. So you don't actually have to request access so long as you go ahead and click on copy. If we're having issues with that, I'll make sure, if just come back to the course later and I can make sure that you can see it better. But let's go to my downloads. Oh, look. That looks familiar. All right, I want to submit it. And there it is. So we're going to talk in a little bit about adjusting some of these things. There's a couple of things we can fix. But I'm going to go ahead and make this nice and large.
And Kat, while you're doing that, we're getting some comments in here about, it looks like it's not shared as make a copy. It's asking everybody to request access. So we'll fix that. We'll fix that for everybody that's listening.
Yeah. I bet it's shared to my institution. So those of you who are like, what's going on? This is a good look at that. Do you see that? By the way, Google people, have you noticed the change from institution, or from this whole layout is completely different? It's confusing a lot of my faculty. So that's fixed. I'll go ahead and fix the rest of all these too. So that one is fixed. Go ahead and try again, y'all. It should work now. The beautiful thing about Google is it'll fix it immediately. So yay for on-the-fly fixing. All right, you should be all good for the next link too. But that right there is banner. I know my phone is blowing up and I'm thinking, what's going on? But go ahead and make a copy now. Refresh and make a copy and you should be good. All right, but there's my banner image. And so now when I go and I save, enter title, Playroom. Sure, no problem. You're very welcome. Yay, there's my banner. And we're going to talk about the last thing. Do you see how like this is not centered? And like if I go over here and make this smaller, like it doesn't really work really well. Guess what, y'all? I got to fix. And I've literally taught every single district leader how to do this. So that's coming up. All right, but that's banner, the short of it. All right, so next, I have some examples for you. I wanted to make sure you could see what it's like. So I made a homepage course for every single school in my district. And this is an example. This right here, isn't that beautifully done? that was made the same way I just made that banner. So shout out also to Holly Knupp, who's the media specialist at East. So she helped put this together. But I think that's a gorgeous design. And look also, let me show you in a little bit, we're going to learn. Watch this. Do you see how it shrinks? Do you see that? I know how to do that. I'm going to show you how to make sure that happens for y'all, okay? All right, next example. So when you use banners, let me see this question really quick. Do they work with the app? Yes, they do. So banners will pop up on any page within the app. All right. So look at that. I help with the ESOL, ELL folks. That right there was built in Google Slides with a transparent background. And of course, ready? Oh, that's very pleasing to see that, right? So no matter how small a screen you have or how big a screen you have, it looks good, right? Oh, is Bitly blocked? All right, so after we're done with this, what I'll do is I'll use Canvas, right? And I'll actually put the links up there with the straight copy links. So just come back to the course about 30 minutes after this, and it'll be good. Okay, I totally appreciate that. I used to work in a district that had Bitly blocked. All right, next on the list is buttons. Banners are great, but buttons are so important. And this is not just for my elementary folks. Shouting out to my elementary folks, you guys love your buttons. But it's also just for navigational purposes, and it just makes it look so much visually appealing, right? As opposed to a list. So let's look at buttons. And here again, and these I just checked, make a copy, and Bitly folks, I'll go and fix it for you later. But I have two types I've made for you. One is a rounded square because some people like that better, and some just want a square button or a rectangle button. So you have those two options, and it looks like this. All right, so there's your rounded square. This is the most popular one, right? I guess it's more appealing to the eye. And the other one is that one, right? So that's the square, and that one also has a little funky kind of fun outline to it. All right, so just like the last time, what you would do is you go in here and edit this, go File, Download, Pop Quiz. You can't answer out loud, I can't hear you. But what do you want to use? If you said PNG, you're right. So you want to go and download as PNG because that means that the background is transparent, and then you'll re-upload that into your course. And let me show you what that can look like. All right, so here is the Jackson County Special Education homepage. So, and notice that they haven't used responsive design, like I'm going to show y'all. So you see how the image doesn't really go in and out, right? But look at the buttons. But do you know how popular this is? Because they're modules. They put everything in modules. Do you know how big the modules page is? It's hard to navigate that, hard to navigate. What they did is every button here links to a different section in the modules. It's super easy to do that. So once you have all that linked in, literally they can go in here and click on, tools for a successful IP meeting, and it'll take them straight to that module, as opposed to where can you find those links? Mark, you want to pop that link back in there again? But that will take them straight to that module. And what I'll do really quick is I'll show you exactly how that works. And go straight into the SPED course here. And it's wonderful because they've actually added all their people in here, so all their documentation. Shout out to, in my district, Tammy Simpson-Shirley. She's one of the SPED coordinators, has made that possible. So as a student view, right, I can come in here, and I'm like, okay, well, this is like gigantic. There's just so many things. Like, there's just, the modules are ridiculously long. I want to go down here. I'm going to click on special education forums. It will take me to, within the module, bump me down. Look how far it bumped me down. So that way for kids, hugely it's just kind of time consuming to kind of navigate all this stuff. As a teacher, if I go ahead and make a button for each of my units, then that can be, they can directly click on Unit 8 and take them straight to Unit 8, right? Awesome. Let me leave that student view really quick so I don't have it up in a second here. So once again, buttons. All right, so another example. I think I have another example up here. I do. So here's another home page from Gum Springs Elementary. And I set this up for them. And do you see these on the right? Aren't they pretty? Now, granted, they're still hyperlinked, but they shouldn't work for you, and that's fine. But I gave them a template. I set them up a whole slide deck like that. And I said, y'all can do whatever you like with these. And then here's how you put them in. So they went in and put them in, and it's all this navigation. So when they click on things, it will take them straight to those pages within their home page. It's so much easier to navigate as opposed to just modules. Modules are great, but they can be huge. This is kind of a hack for fixing that problem. So I think they're very pretty. They're so clever. Look, they added little paw prints. All right, next. All right, let's go back to our modules. So if you're following along at home, we're on our modules. We talked about banners and buttons. Okay, are you ready to do a little bit of code? Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, okay? Let's see, how do you organize all the downloaded images in the back end? All right, so for people who are very much a fan of like Marie Kondo and you have to have everything organized, make sure that when you start doing this, I would make a folder in your files and call those like button images. So I actually have made the mistake of never doing that. So I have to go through and always navigate everything. But if you're starting now, go ahead and make here are my banner images, here are my button images, just to make it easier for you, right? Good question. Thank you very much. All right, so we're going to look at your first piece of code, something called pills. It's not as hard as you think. I love this. Again, as for students especially, please. And maybe you can do your own estimate, but I have a link here where you can actually guess, like take a guess how long patches, like it'll basically look at a reading passage and give you a guesstimate of how long it'll take. It would be so nice if you do a page of content, especially now that we're doing distance learning, any kind of blended or virtual learning, and you're making this like a lesson of sorts. Give them an estimated time frame about how long it's going to take. Let's see. Are you structuring your page with tables or just freestyle? That's a yes and. Using the responsive trick, I'm going to teach you on a little bit. You can just freestyle it. I do a lot of tables, but what I do with the tables is I do the same thing I'm going to show you on a little bit, the responsive trick, to make it so the tables will shrink as they get bigger and smaller. So it won't do that scrolling line at the bottom. Don't be afraid. I promise not to be afraid. All right, so isn't that awesome? At the very beginning, you could put that in there. And that's the code. So all you would have to do is copy this from the class and from the page, and then you can paste that into the HTML editor. Now, for those of you who are like, where is the HTML editor? Let's take a look at that. All right. So what I'll do now is I will make another page here and show you really quick. All right. And this has confused a lot of people in my district. It used to be up here on the right. Now it's down here in the bottom right. By the way, Jackson County's colors, black and gold. So ours is your color. It might be a little different for you down here. But it's right here, the two brackets with the slash in the middle. That's when you switch to the HTML editor, okay? So I'm something here first so you can see what I'm talking about. This is a reading passage for you. And a bunch of words right there, right? All right, what does that look like? On the other side, I want you to think of the forest. Like if this is the light side of the forest, switching to the HTML, I don't want to say dark side. Let's call it like the grayish side of the forest, right? So I'm going to switch over there, and then you see a bunch of stuff, and people are like, oh my gosh, what is this? Don't worry about that. Just click somewhere, click enter to have a whole new space, and then just paste that code in. That's not the code. Let me copy again. Let's paste this code in. See? And then to see what it looks like, click on the little brackets and slash thing again. Ready? All right. This is a weird one in that it looks like a list, but it's not. So to get a real good view of it, you need to save your page, okay? So I'm going to save this page. You ready? Boom. How easy was that, guys? Right? Let's do it again because we're going to have a lot. The rest of this, guys, is mostly code, okay? It's easy. All right, so I'm over here. I've typed in or I've pasted in this passage for my kids to read. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to use the pill code. I want them to be able to see kind of how long this passage will be. So I'm going to go over here to my HTML editor. Right, I'm going to click down and paste in the code I've given you. And maybe it's not 30 minutes. Maybe it's 5 minutes. And maybe there's no 10 seconds. So I can get rid of that whole line if I want to. Or maybe it's 30 seconds. Let's do that. Go back. I should see the little dots and then save and wait for it. Boom. All right, so what do you think? Think it's doable? I think so, right? So go back and practice that. So the rest of this continues on using that HTML editor, all right? So I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna clear this out just so we're prepared because I wanna show y'all how some of this works. And I try to have examples for each of these. All right, so that's your first introduction to the HTML editor. The reason why I want to use that, by the way, pages are great. Canvas is really meant for all users. They don't want to make it very complex. That's why the WYSIWYG editor, the what you see is what you get, is very, very easy to navigate. And it's not super it's not like 5,000 rows of options. That's one thing about Microsoft Word or all those tools that always got me is just so many options. But Canvas knows that, all right, we have a variety of users. We want to keep this as simple as possible. So that's why Pages doesn't have a bazillion things for you to be able to do with in that WYSIWYG editor. So these are kind of our workarounds. So let's see. Question right here. Do you use the pill code for anything other than reading? So you can. You actually can. I mean, essentially, as long as whatever's between the LI brackets, right? Let's go back here and take a look. So right here, like whatever's between the two LIs, right? The LI and then the end, that slash means like end LI. You can put whatever you want at all. So you could say like this is a homework assignment for the week of, for week 1, whatever you'd like. Good point, good question. All right, so here. All right, so we're gonna look at content headers. All right, what I need to do first really is show you what I'm talking about. People, like you see right here where it just says, it's just plain text. It's like, what does it do? The bold is great, but it doesn't catch my eye. I want to be able to make a header that's better than this, right? Something that's catchy, especially if I have to chunk material for my students, okay? So what I want to do now is show y'all, here is this code, and we got to talk about this. I'm going to go ahead and copy this, but this is what I'm talking about so you have a visual. You ready? That's what I'm talking about. How much easier is it to navigate a page of content when you have things chunked like this, especially if it's a long page? So we actually have all of our curriculum on Canvas courses. And the way that we have to chunk things is exactly like this. So this is essentially just a table that is responsive. You ready? Responsive people? Let's take a look here. I want to make my browser. Oh, look. Isn't that pretty? Look at that, y'all. See? Responsive matters. So the code's already built in for responsive, okay? And then you just manipulate at will. But I want to show y'all and walk y'all through this just a little bit. So I've copied that code. I'm going to come here. All right, here's my content. Now, instead of having a header like this, homework for Friday, right? And I bold it. This is not going to be very visually appealing at all. Right, look at that. How am I going to catch that? What if it's a huge, long thing? It's hard for me as an adult to catch it. Imagine a kid, 13, 14 years old, trying to get through that too. And honestly, all my higher ed folks, imagine your 21 or 22-year-olds trying to navigate this, right? Very visually overwhelming. That's a great phrase, but we're going to make it not so much. So I'm going to take the code that I've given you, just literally copy it. Remember the HTML editor? Come right here, click on that. Looks kind of funky. I'm going to delete the line that says homework for Friday. Just delete the whole line. Okay, nice clean space. And I'm going to paste the code in right there. And then I'm going to switch back so I can see it. And ta-da! Now what's cool is once you have it in there, guys, watch this. I can just come in here and just type, let's do homework for Friday. Okay? And now I'm going to save it. And look how much better this is than what it was before. Isn't that cool? All it is a single cell table with a certain little line in it that makes it responsive. So it'll shrink depending or grow depending again on the size of the browser. You'll have to excuse any sounds over there. We got lunch going on here with my family. But that just makes it chunk. You can chunk the material. And if I want to, I can add a bunch of those like you saw earlier. So I can come here, right? Let me go back to the HTML editor. Okay. Space down a little bit. Add another one. Go back. And there you go. Hold on one second. Hey, girls. I have 2 little ones. They're 5 and 7. All right, but look at that. So now I can make this, homework for next week, and then save it. There you go. Easy way to chunk content on a page. So you can have a page per week and build your stuff out right there, and boom, you're done. All right. So let's go back now. So there's my example for you, and this is also from another course homepage. Okay. I think I'm doing
really quick. It looks like Sally is saying, I think I'm doing something wrong. It's only displaying the code when I switch back to RCE. Any thoughts on that?
Sure. Well, the only thing I can think of is an error that I often do if I'm editing. Let me go back and let me clear out this page and show you all I'm talking about. All right, give me 1 second to load this. Okay, so pretend like there is nothing. I'm going to clean it out here. All right, there's nothing on this page, right? I sometimes, by accident, forget where I am if I am in the editor or if I'm not in the editor. So if I haven't switched here, like I'll come here sometimes if I'm in a rush, and I'll paste it there. And then like, you'll notice I made that boo-boo. I had to be sure, you have to be sure that you're in the HTML editor. And the way that you'll know is if you're pasting your code in and you see the 12 point, the paragraph, bold, italicized, underline, you're in the wrong place. Don't paste your code there, okay? So you wanna make sure that that doesn't happen. So we're gonna go back in here and I'm gonna clean that out, right? But notice as I switch between the two, you have rich content editor. Oh, she's using the old one. So if I remember correctly, with the old rich content editor, the code, the HTML is in the upper right-hand corner. Correct me if I'm wrong, or if anybody has a screenshot. But it's because we've already switched over. That's a great point. Our district went ahead and switched over to the new rich content editor. So, but if you're using the old one, I believe it's in the upper right-hand corner. And that's where you'll find something that's similar to this up here. You'll click on that, and that will switch you back and forth. So let's see if you haven't. It doesn't matter. Does it matter if we haven't updated to the having the embed icon on the bottom? No, it doesn't matter. HTML is HTML. So if it's here at the bottom or if it's there at the top, either way is fine, right? Just make sure you try to look for those brackets. That switches you between the two. Same thing either way with the old version for the rich content editor or the new one. So coming here, just make sure all that rich content editor goes away when I'm in HTML and it comes back when I'm not, right? Let's see what you're saying here. The code for pills is a great way to urge teachers to get more involved in modules. That is so true. That's a great point, Marcus. All right, interest of time, I'm gonna move forward and we'll take some questions at the end. Dividing lines. I kind of abused them here, right? And I'm gonna edit this really quick. Because what I wanna do, first of all, code to add. Let's make sure you're not confused because it gets a little kind of crazy here. But do you see how when I make these pages, do you see these single lines? One thing that Google Docs has is you're able to insert a line in your content to kind of break up the stuff, but even that's not thick enough for me, especially if people have any kind of visual impairment. You need to have something that's a little brighter than light gray, right? So there is a code you can use to actually insert a dividing line, and you can actually make that line small or make it big, okay? So I'm gonna copy this code right here. I gave you the one I use for everything. This line right here is what you see right there, okay? So I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna watch and see what you're saying while I'm doing that. Hold on. Link is not asking. Yeah, so you'll have to log in with a Google account. And what I'll have to do is, I don't have PowerPoint on my Mac, but I will try to get it in a format where it's similar to slides. I haven't actually downloaded any kind of Microsoft Suite in a long time. All right, so there, I'm gonna copy that code. I'm gonna go to the next page. We're gonna practice that a little bit. So I have a blank page here. Go and edit this. So let's say I have a bunch of content, right? A bunch of stuff here and a bunch of stuff there and a bunch of stuff here. Okay? But I want to split those up with lines between the content. Pages are great, but to really amplify them, I mean, you don't want these little tiny short pages that kids have to go through next in a module. You want a good chunk of a page with visual cues and things that break up the material. So this code will do it for you. Again, you don't have to think, you don't have to invent the code. Just switch over to the HTML editor, right? Pick anywhere. I'm gonna pick right here, tab down, clean line, right? Clean space, and I'm gonna paste the code. Might get rid of the extra space there so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm gonna do that for all of them here. Okay, there we go. Ready? Switch back. You're gonna see it immediately. Ta-da! You're immediately chunked up. Chunking is so important. And you can also add spaces around it. You can just literally tab down if that's just too much space, so that way you can have more space. I'm literally just pressing enter, y'all. I'm clicking right here at the front, enter, at the bottom, enter, adding blank spaces between those. All right. But what's really cool is you guys have the ability with the code to edit the size. Let's say that that is just too big. Okay. Coming back here, I'm going to just have the one code so it'll be easier for y'all to see. Okay. Do you see where it says width equals 90%? This is where you have all the power. You can figure out how big you want this. Do you want it to be 100%? Where it's the entire width of the page? Let's take a look. Or do you want it to be super tiny? Maybe you're somebody who likes tiny little markations. Let's do 50. Look at that. Isn't that cool? How easy is that? So you copy what I've given you, put it into the HTML, and there you go. Question up here. Are lines and spaces a problem for screen readers? Not the lines. So this type of HTML is not the type that breaks things. So typically lines and spaces would not be a problem. Things that would throw off screen readers would be a bunch of images. So, but this should be fine. And someone's willing to test that with Immersive Reader. I think Microsoft Immersive Reader picks up all the code I put in. Another one here, let's see. Remember that time when Kat was dropping knowledge so strong I immediately emailed my Canvas users out? Well, yes, y'all, the HR code. So this is just an HR code, and the width, make it, and okay, so we got the width down. Let's go back to 90. Height is how thick do you want it? So I will say elementary folks, if you're chunking content, your students probably like bigger chunks. So I'm gonna have some fun with y'all. Let's make this 25 pixels, okay? Boom. I would say that that would be very obvious to any student, right? That there is a space between the two. So I'm gonna go back and just put 2. And you don't have to touch the rest. Ignore this. If you don't understand any of this, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. The background color, guys, the color 333 is just a way of doing a black line. Just ignore that part right now. All I really care about for y'all is copying what I've given you, and then you can make it small or big or thick or a little thinner, okay? All right, I'm gonna save that. And let's move on to the next one. All right, responsive embeds and images. This is the moment. This is the moment when you can figure out, how do I make that image fit the entire screen automatically, and how do I make it shrink and grow depending upon the size of your laptop or your desktop? So our teachers have 12-inch monitor screens. Some of our admin have 15-inch. And I don't want a situation where on the 12-inch, it fits great, but on the 15-inch, it's a little tiny image. We don't want that. So what we do is literally, y'all, that's it. Do you see the width equals 100? You don't even have to copy it. Do you see it says code to add change? Don't copy it. You don't have to copy that. It's literally already there. There's already a width somewhere in whatever you upload, whatever you embed. There's already a width and a colon. Change that, whatever number, to 100%, and that's it. So let's look at it. All right, and here's an example. So my special education department friends, that's their original banner. That's the one with the 100%. Watch what happens. Isn't that awesome? Look at that. Oh, look, see, I don't want that to happen where the image kind of gets all skewed. Look how tiny I can go with that image. Meanwhile, if I have huge, I can really make that big, right? So that's it. That's it. And let me show you what that looks like. I'm going to show you the difference in the codes here. All right, so again, I'm in the rich content editor. I'm going to switch using the little 2 brackets and the slash. All right, let me zoom in a little bit for you guys. Okay, so this is the first one that wasn't responsive. Do you see right here where it says width equals 681? That's pixels. That limits it. That means that that image is permanently that size, the end, no changes. No. I don't like that. So all you have to do is go and change it. Literally, just change it. That's it, 100%, and save it. That's it. That's it. So just doing any kind of width for any image you upload, and all my Google friends, you know how Google Docs also have the same problem? When you embed a Google Doc, find the width equals whatever and change it to 100%, and it will solve the problem every time. Every time. All right, so let's go back and take a look. So what I'll do for fun, let's make this 400. See how that made it really tiny? Not responsive though. Look, it's even responsive in the editor. But if I changed it to 100%, ready? Boom. All right. This is what makes images look so good when viewing content. Exactly. I love device agnosticism. I want, if they're looking at on a browser, if they're looking at on the mobile app, if they're looking at on a TV screen, I want them to see it how they should see it and not see this little tiny image regardless. All right, so let's switch on to the next one here. Embedding Google folders. All right, Microsoft folks, just take a breather for a moment. Go practice your using the embedding in HTML, because I'm going to have a little talk with my Google folks here. You can embed Google folders. I know that everybody knows you can embed documents and sheets and slides, but you can actually embed entire folder that's actually responsive and navigation. Like you can navigate it. It's amazing. I forget how I figured this out, but it's somewhere out there. It's probably in the Canvas community. Shout out to the Canvas community. There is so much content there, y'all. But this is it. So I have to say something really quick though. When you copy this, do you see in bold where it said place with folder ID, or should we say replace? Replace with folder ID, replace with folder ID, and replace with folder title. What I mean by this, let me go to my drive. I'm going to open up a random folder here and ignore my drive. It's a little OCD. You're going to have a moment when you see this. But I'm going to open up, let's just open up my current and ongoing. All right. The link is what it matters. So up here in the link where it says drive.google.com/drives/folders, this is your folder ID. Whatever this random mix of letters and numbers is your unique folder ID. That's it. Take that, you'll copy that, and you'll replace it in the code. So let me show you what that looks like. All right, so I'm gonna copy this. Ready? All right, and I already have some in here. Isn't that cool? Y'all, look at this. Fully functional and navigationable. All right, but I'm gonna do mine right there. So I'm gonna come down here. All right, I'm gonna edit, go to the HTML. Don't be overwhelmed, because I know you're like, oh my God, what's all this stuff? Don't worry about it. You're gonna go down to the very bottom because you're gonna start brand new, right? Then I'm gonna paste in the code. And you see where it says replace with folder ID? Go back to my drive and copy that folder ID, whatever is after folder slash. Let me find it again, that moment when you have too many tabs open. All right, so now ID equals all the way up to the hashtag. Same thing here. Replace with folder ID all the way up to question mark. And then here is you can put a title. And that's actually for assistive technology purposes in case it doesn't load or they're trying to tap through or, you know, for the visually impaired. You always want to have a title for these things. So I'll call this current ongoing. All right, you ready for the magic? Give it a second and it'll pop up. There it is. Oh, but look how unpretty that is. That's not pretty. So let's save it and see what happens. There we go. And now I could actually access my entire drive. And what's funny is you guys can see this folder because I've given access to anybody with a link. But let's say you have a folder of stuff that you only want principals to see, but it's a Canvas course that everybody has access to. People who don't have the rights to the folder will see a blank. It's just literally a blank box, okay? So there we go. Isn't that cool? So there you go. You can embed a whole Google folder, and now I can click on these. I'm gonna click on a document, opens in a new tab, and boom, there it is. All right, next. Let's get questions really quick. Mind blown. Shanda, my mind was blown too. Like the moment I could figure that out, because we were embedding document after document, and I'm thinking, this is ridiculous. If we have 12 documents to embed, why can't I just do a freaking folder? So I did. We have the folder. All right, so this is an important part to follow that up. iFrame borders. So you know when I mentioned that if somebody doesn't have access to something, it just is a blank, or it'll say like something like you don't have access. If it's just a blank screen, how are they going to know that something's there, right? So we had this problem with our federal programs. We put all of our school improvement plans on Canvas. And so they had a folder and then they had a Google Sheet, but only certain people could access them, but the entirety of all the school leadership could access the course. So it was a security measure, but we had problems where if somebody visited one school and they saw that nothing was there, or they visited their school and something was broken, there was a space, they didn't know something was there that they could or could not see. Other than writing, right, hey, if you don't see this, you don't have access, click here. This was a workaround. All right, so this one you actually add inside the iFrame tag. I'm going to show y'all how to do that. So I'm going to copy this, and this is pretty simple where to add it. You don't have to add it in the middle or at the end. It's almost literally right at the beginning, right? And an iFrame is anything that's embedded. So when you're looking through all this stuff, you're like, this is crazy. Find the iFrame, okay? Let's take a look. So here's examples. So see how it said log in to authorize? So you guys should not see this. I do because I have rights, but you don't. So I'm going to go back to that course over here, go to the modules, and you'll see what I can see that you can't see. Isn't that nice for a good security measure, guys? All right, but look, do you see how it says not signed into Canvas? Please sign in. So I'm not signed into Canvas. So you actually don't see it either because you're not signed in to see it. But do you see that little border right there? That border is not inherent to Google Docs or Google Drive or anything that you embed, like a YouTube video. Putting a border right here helps them see there's something there, right? And look at this little frowny face. That's kind of sad. All right, going back here. All right, but look, even I don't have rights to that folder. But I can see the little border around it. It helps me see it better. Let's look at another example really quick. So actually, you guys can see that, but I have a border right there, that right around it. So it's better. Without the border, it's just like this blank screen. And let's go in and take a look at this. So I want to look at this code for y'all. All right, don't be overwhelmed, okay? Remember, find the iframe. By the way, do y'all know the trick about Control F? This is how I navigate really big codes like this. If I'm telling you find the iframe and your brain's like blank, do Control F with your, like, click anywhere in that box. Control F, or Mac users Command F, and a little search pops up. I'm going to type in iframe. Watch this. There's my iframe codes. Okay. iframe right here. Let's do iframe. I'm going to take this out really quick. Right, and here is the Google Doc without any kind of lines around it. You'll see it's just a blank kind of screen. I didn't like that. I liked having some sort of denominator so they know that there is actually something there, right? See how there's no lines right there? It's very visually confusing, especially down here when you start typing. Having some sort of delineation is helpful. So going back into this and going to that code again. Again, this is back and forth, very repetitive. All right, I'm going to do that trick I just told you about, Control F or Command F. So I'm going to do, and I'm on a Mac, but Command F, type in iframe. It'll highlight what I'm looking for. And there's iframe style at the beginning. Right after there, I'm going to, well, I already have style in there, so I'm just going to do that. Okay. And save it. So most iframe codes actually usually don't have a style, but if they do, you just have to put in the border, that little piece there. And I'll try to update that information because I'm trying to remember most of my stuff that I've embedded doesn't have that, but in case it does, there you go. And by the way, look, 100%, that's where it's responsive to make the Google Doc go big and small as you grow. Let's take that out. Let's have some fun on this. Let's make that 800. Oh my Lord. Let's save it, take a peek. Do you see what happened when I took the width out? It kind of got funky. I must have it embedded somewhere else. But do you see now there's a little gray little line around there? And you can manipulate that just like with the HR code, the dash line I showed you. All right, well, I'm going back and forth. Let me read this. Are you using the app? Do the doc slide, open the app. They do actually open the app. And that's one of the reasons why I preferred, what page? It does exist. Hold on. I prefer embedding stuff. First, Google connected with LTI with Canvas, and we use the app feature. So right here, the little plugin app. I can go down here to Google Apps. We also have Classroom integrated, but Google Apps, and then I'll pick up my. Let's see, go once it wants to go. Probably is not cooperating with me right now. But that'll actually pick up my drive. I can embed a document there. I prefer doing that here in a page versus a module because I can add a title. Because you'll notice that the title of the document is not always there, especially if I don't have view rights. That's a problem for me. And the way that we have this embedded, you actually can work in the document right there. So you don't actually have to go to Drive necessarily to do it. So I'm going to add that 100% back here. And let that save really quick. What I'm talking about is, so this is actually the document embedded. I can come in here if I have edit rights and I can type. So I can do everything here. If I do that in a module, I don't have instructions above, I don't have details below. And sometimes what I like to do that I don't have on these pages, at the bottom of this, I'll put Can't see the link? Click here to open a new tab. Because sometimes if people have too many tabs open on a Chrome browser, 50 potentially, some of you, I'm looking at some of y'all, you probably have 50 right now. Not all of these embeds or pictures will actually resolve themselves in the page. So having a link out would be very helpful. So people can open these things in yet another tab. Let me catch some comments here. Very cool. Yeah. Well, it's a course kit, so it's Google Assignments now, but we have that integrated with Canvas. So all the stuff that people love about Classroom, except for the stream, because you don't need a stream when you have Canvas, but the grading, the sharing, a copying of a template, to be able to go and see kids in real time writing on their documents and navigating, all that stuff people love in Classroom exists in Canvas now. That's a mic drop for Canvas. And that's a whole nother session. All right, we're getting toward the end. So padding inline images. And I might have to speed this up a little bit. So I'll have to put a little thing in here that describes this. Because I want to get to the last one here. But padding inline images, guys, all it does is it makes it where the picture, actually we can do this really quickly and we'll skip the rest. It makes whatever image you have, if you make it in line with the text, have space between the image and the text. But we're going to go in here. We're going to add some pictures. All right, this is good for buttons, y'all, right? Buttons. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to add a picture. Let's do upload image. Okay, and I'll do the one that is from the webinar today. Okay, let's look at my options here. Make sure we're good. All right, do you see how I'm typing right there? I can type my text right there. Do you see how it's right next to the image? That's not okay. Like, I need some space, right? Space is important. So, you know, welcome. I really am blah, 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 so on and so forth. I want some space. All I have to do is take the code, all right, and I'm going to literally paste it right after IMG. Clearly, you probably know what IMG stands for now. Image, right? So if I paste that there, add a little space. Look at that. Do you see the space? Do you see it now? It's automatically there. And when I tab down, I can keep on doing my paragraphs. I'm going to have to geek out over this, right? It matters to me. Let's do that again for fun. Here's this. A lot of stuff I don't like. And if I tab down, you know, I'm typing my paragraphs. That's not good. I'm going to go again, switch it to the HTML editor, look right after IMG, paste that in. Magic, right? That's it. Someone saying Google Assignments is awesome. And can you tell us how to add? Hey, Mark, I might need to do a session on a Google Course Kit or the assignments. Just letting you know.
Problem solved. You're on the schedule.
All right, so look at that, y'all. So now when it's posted, isn't that prettier than what it was smashed together? It's hard to see things. So those of you who are doing images, I'm looking at my math and science people. You have a lot of images that you want to put in there. This is great to have explanations right there to the right of it. All right. And the last piece, content borders. I have about, let me give myself a couple more minutes for this. So right here, all you have to do is create borders around paragraphs without doing tables. A lot of people don't like tables because there's lots of questions about whether they actually function with like assistive views or not. So the way around that is a content border. So I'm going to copy this. Okay, and I have a blank page right here. Well, almost blank. There's different types of content borders. I'm going to come in here and we're going to play a little bit. All right, so first things first, we tab down. I'm going to come back here to the HTML editor. At the very top, let's paste what I just copied. All right, and let's see how that goes. Once you save it, it should pop up. All right, do you see the lines? Look at this. Okay, and with each of these, they're a different style for each type. So there's content, so you just have to replace the class equals whatever's there, right? So let's go back and let's take a look. And this is also very addictive because once you start doing this over and over again, it works out very nicely. All right, so I'm gonna come back to the code. And I'm going to add some space. You see the HR lines because I wanted some space. All right, I'm going to paste my code right here. See, that's content box, pad, mini border, border, RBL. We just did that one, so let's do the one right here. Content box pad. So I'm going to replace it, TBL, with that. And now let's do that there. Oh, it didn't want to pop up for me. Oh, I have to save it. That's right. Thanks for the reminder, folks. Save to view for those, just like the pillbox, right? And there you go. Look at that. That's a whole box, just nothing here to the right, right? So you can play with this. Go back and change the TBL, right? Or the border TBL, border round. Just keep on changing each of those. There's one that's a whole box. There's one that's just a corner of the screen, right? And then that's it. Because I don't want to have to take the entire, I think we're almost at 50 minutes, but this is a huge chunk of things that really could help make your courses better. And if you're, afraid of code or anything like that, start with the borders and the buttons. And after this, guys, for those of you who are having issues accessing that with Google, I'll try to play with PowerPoint to do a transparent background and get a template up there for y'all too. But I am a little invested with Google. So. But I hope some of these examples are helpful. Have fun with banners and the buttons. Start with pills, definitely, to learn that HTML stuff. And if I had to recommend anything, the most important piece I feel was that responsive. Whatever you upload, try to find whatever it says, whatever width, and change it to 100%. It helps with so many things across the board. All right, so let's look at some of your questions. And then, Mark, if you have anything for me too, let me keep this up here so you don't have creative things. All right, I need to be in your head. I don't know if you want to be in my head. And let's see what else. Game changer. And take your time. Don't be overwhelmed by this. The whole point of putting this together is so you always can come back to this. And I'll also go in and add some of those visual examples as well. I just wanted something that was, I could give you a resource immediately that you could use with copy paste code that you could use.
If there's any other last questions, bring them on. We got Kat for just a couple more quick minutes. Remember that this is part of a big series that Kat and a whole bunch of people that we have on have been a big part of. We've produced, I think, 49 of these over the past 2 months.
That's amazing.
They can all be found, well, most all of them. There may be some missing at that link that I just dropped in there. This one will be up on that site again shortly. You can also rewatch it on YouTube or Facebook or wherever else. Any questions? Any questions from anybody?
Sherry Carpenter said, are the content borders more responsive than organizing with tables? Yes. So you can't do columns with the borders. It just literally just boxes things for you, right? But it is more responsive inherently. It's part of a code that's called div, and any kind of div is automatically responsive. So, but those of you who want to chunk things like that, you could use that tag, and it would just chunk them like that. So it's a little more of a box. It won't give you the borders, like the colored borders or the thicker borders, but it's just something. And then somebody asked live caption. So I'll leave that to you in a second, Mark. And then someone said, is there anything in the commons? So I have not actually added any of this in the commons. I thought about it, but I figured I'd go ahead and get this example out there. But I have a couple of templates I'll probably eventually share there. We are trying to launch like a virtual academy in a month. So I'll get there eventually. Oh, and I just turned my computer off. There we go. All right, I think
Beth is asking Kat, how long will people have access to this course?
Oh, I'm the LMS administrator for my domain. I'll leave it open. So you're good.
It's not going anywhere.
Nope, not going anywhere. Let's see, if you embed folders, can you make the user for it? No, you cannot. So with Google folders, it's really hard to copy with Google folders anyway. So you cannot force a copy. There is an app in the Chrome Web Store that's called Copy Folder. So you're able to copy folders as long as you have edit rights to them, but you can't force a copy. All right, where do we find the course? The link, I'll tweet it out too. I'm not really sure how else to share it, but I'll find a way.
I'll drop it in again right now. Sure. For those who were late, the link that's coming right now from Instructure Canvas Handles is the link to access all these courses.
Right.
I know there was that question about live captioning. I believe you can do that now on YouTube.
Yep.
So go to YouTube, look for the Canvas LMS page, and you'll be able to find this video and you can watch it there.
I'm scrolling back up. Oh, thank you, Beth. You're saying you're gonna make me a superhero, Kate. I'm sewing, by the way. I'm a big cross stitcher. That's my decompression from all of this. So yay for sewing. Did you chat about how to make it responsive? It's that width. I'm telling y'all, if you teach anything, if you share anything, please share the width equals 100%. It's made such a huge difference in all of our stuff. Oh,
awesome.
Sam said that HR lines, the divider lines, are fully ADA compliant. Win.
Nice.
Yeah, small things.
Nice.
All right.
Okay, everybody.
Yeah, you can reach us.
We're gonna let Kat get back to that 5- and 7-year-old that we've got there trying to make lunch. Hopefully the house is still not burnt up. Thanks so much for joining, everybody. This session has been super, super helpful. We've had a big crowd. Remember, we're back here on Monday again at 10:30 a.m. Mountain, and we're going to do something kind of fun with you guys to talk about how you're using Canvas. So how's that for a teaser? We will see you on Monday.
Thank y'all.
Thanks, everybody.